Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. Our last guest is an award-winning poet and author who's been recently appointed the title of a State Poet of New York, 2021 through 2023. He is the author of Smoking Lovely, The Remix, The Crazy Bunch, The Essential Hits of Shorty Bong Bong, and Where a Nickel Costs of Dime. He is the winner of the Foundation for Contemporary Arts, a Cy Twombly Award for poetry, the New York City Book Award, a Penn Open Book Award. He's also a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award and the Poetry Society of American Norma Farber First Book Award. He's the co-editor of the anthology Latinx, and his work has appeared in New York Times Magazine, Washington Post, African Voices, and Best American Poetry 2019. I'm talking none other than the award-winning poet and author, New York State Poet Laureate, and my dear friend, Willie Perdomo. Hello and welcome.
Hey, what's up?
I can't even believe I got it all out. I was like, oh my gosh, is it all gonna roll out?
And you pronounce Shorty Bong Bong just perfectly. That's how you got the bong bong right.
Gracias, thank God, because I want to do you justice. I mean, bueno, on a personal note, tengo mucho orgullo, so it's my absolute honor to just share all of your accomplishments and accolades with our audience. So congratulations on everything thus far. Yeah. I mean, first of all, let's talk about like being identified or being crowned the New York State Poet Laureate. How did that happen? I mean, not that you don't deserve it, you absolutely deserve it. I was just like, I'm elated about it, but when did that come about?
What did we, 2022, 2020? So last year, early in the year, I had received the invitation from the New York Writers Institute in Albany to do a reading. And by chance, the director of the Institute had mentioned that I had been on the list of potential contenders, potential nominees for the State Poet of New York appointment. And I said, oh, cool, that's good to know. And I didn't think anything of it. And then at least a month or two later, the director sent me an email that says there's been a change of plans. You've just been named State Poet of New York for 2021 to 2023. And so I was elated, of course. I was to be chosen to be the Poet Laureate of New York, being from 122nd Street, Lexington Avenue, East Harlem, at Barrio, Spanish Harlem, being the poet of the crew, if you will, where we grew up. And now to be the poet of not just the city, but the state. That is an immense honor for me. And then, and even more so, to be the first Puerto Rican State Poet of New York, to be the first Latinx State Poet of New York is even more fulfilling, I think. And I think it gives a lot of people happiness and pride. Definitely gives me a lot of pride to be the first Boricua on the list. And if you look at the list, it's a formidable list, to say the least, right? You have Audre Lorde is on the list, Yusuf Komunyakaa is on the list. So it's a good list to be on. So I am more than honored and elated. And it was a happy moment when I found out that I was appointed State Poet of New York.
Yeah, I know. It was a happy moment when I found out for you. I mean, on a personal, I don't know if you can see, I'm like grinning from ear to ear. And that's from being your homegirl. I could say that on air, meaning, we've known each other since we were teeny boppers. And so it's been quite the journey, to say the least, of just being able to kind of meet up and just watch each other's growth and support it in whatever way possible. And so when you win, we win, right? And on a personal note, it's almost like I felt like I won, because it's like, that's my boy, my boy from my neighborhood who is showing up and showing out and also creating this possibility for the next generation of poets to gain, at least have that possibility in their horizon, right? It's possible now, whereas before it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, I think most definitely. I think to give someone a young poet coming up in that barrio, a young poet coming up on Lexington Avenue, standing in front of the store, or standing, looking outside of the window, or hanging out on front of the stoop, and
Or
sort of
sitting on a mailbox.
sitting on the mailbox, right? and sort of thinking about what it means to be a poet in the world, developing poems on the spot in that moment, that somehow one could come from that, right? One could develop as a young poet in that barrio and become, the poet laureate of the state. So surely at that point, anything becomes possible in the world. So I take pride in the fact that you take pride, and I think your happiness is contagious for sure. I feel it all the way over here. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's definitely heartfelt. Because here's the thing, we're living in a day and age, and unfortunately, East Harlem is getting a bad rap lately. And I think there needs to be more, we need to be spreading more hope and possibility, so that we're not caught in that web of like, oh, well, this is what comes out of this particular neighborhood. So to have you on, and not only on air with us, but also representing National Poetry Month, aside from being the New York State Poet Laureate. And it is poetic within itself,
Yeah. I mean, I think there's room enough for so many stories, right? And I think there has to be space made for different narratives that come out of our neighborhoods. I think it's important that if we have experiences, more than enough of our generation probably has experience coming through the mid 70s, coming through the 80s, coming through the 90s, that we've experienced our share of trauma, I would say. And I think the artistic process gives you an opportunity to make sense of that chaos, to make sense of the conflict, and to honor lives that we lost along the way. So a big part of being appointed was that, not only was I appointed, but the Crazy Bunch was appointed, right? Lexington was appointed. My dear mother, who passed in December 2020, she was appointed. She would have been ecstatic. She probably would have been, I'm sure she would have got on the phone and told all her friends. If not, her friends would have told her, and she would have been like, "Why you ain't tell me?" I probably would have told her anyway. She knew I would have told her. God bless her. But so there's part of that, right? And then there's the other part where we get to experience our joy, our celebration, our level of ritual, our practices, our community. So that way we get a multi-dimensional look at what it actually means to come from where we came from with a poetic lens, I think, if not a photographic documentarian lens, if you will. So there's that part that it has to be variegated, right? It has to have more than one color, I think.
I agree. And thank you for expressing that so eloquently, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to heal collectively. We've all endured some really tumultuous times. And right now, it's really a matter of like spreading hope, which is like where my lens is focused, right? My lens is like, hey, look, Bopple from the block, he became a New York State Poet Laureate.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. And I say that endearingly. I say that with all my heart.
Of course. I think it's always been love. So, I think the more we have venues and platforms where we can spread the love, the better the world is going to be, I think.
Awesome. Ay, Dios mío. Congratulations again. I know you're going to recite something for us. You guys don't go anywhere, because when we return, Willie Perdomo is going to perform for us after the break.